Hey everybody, happy Monday. And oops, I know I scheduled this with like very little notice, and I apologize, but I had said that I was going to come back, and here I am. So, for anybody tuning in right now, let me clear this up as quickly as possible. Last night I was doing this live. I was having some pretty serious audio issues. That's what I felt was being communicated to me. And I just kind of made a judgment call and said, okay, let's just stop this live because nobody wants to listen when you sound like a robot. So we're back, and I'm going to kind of recap what I went over last night very quickly. You'll have to go back and watch the other video, or you can go. I put all my resources in my description. So please go there and look. Because everything I'm talking about is there. So, Sushi crew, let's get started. All right, so last night I started out by sharing an article from the Associated Press. I read it in its entirety last night. I'm not going to read it again. We're just going to recap and move on. But it is important that I show you this real quickly. And then please know again that this article is in the description. So it's from the AP Newswire. The title of the article is 7 Years of Sex Abuse, How Mormon Officials Let It Happen by Michael Resendez, published August 4th, 2022. In the description, read it. Basically, it is a very, very well-written article that talks about how in a very specific situation, a bishop who was also a physician was counseling an LDS church member who shared with him that he was abusing his daughter at home. So the Mormon Church has a helpline for situations like this. The bishop called the helpline and he was told not to report it to the police. In my opinion, that is just horrific. They provided counseling for the father, but none for the child who was continually abused for another 7 years. In the article, they also mentioned that they have acquired 12,000 pages of sealed records out of West Virginia that describe the same happenings. There is a pattern of this in the LDS Church. They establish these helplines. People call them. They're supposed to go to social workers. I don't know if they do or not, but apparently the people answering these phones have a questionnaire. And they kind of do a risk management assessment of the situation. And that is not for the victim or for the perpetrator. It is for the reputation of the church. And then how it's handled is decided by the law firm, which represents the church, because the church has got a lot of interest in not only their reputation, gaining new members, but also being sued. So Kurt and McConkie is a law firm that represents the LDS Church. These basically triage sheets are sent up to Kurt and McConkie when they're escalated based on the questionnaire. And then the bishops or whoever's reporting this is giving direction on how to handle it. So this has been established. And I have more material to show you tonight. So go back and read this article. If you can go back and, watch my other live stream up until this point, that would be great. I didn't want to do the whole thing over again because who wants to watch it the second time if you lived through it the first, right? So stop sharing this screen. And I'm going to go to where I was last night. And that would be here. Give me a second here and get this up on here. It's so amazing what we can do with computers now, but there's the big but. But it's still like not a seamless process. And I'll be really excited when it's more fluid. So what I have up on the screen right now is a spreadsheet. It is from Curtin McConkie. I'll go ahead and I'll flip back to this page. We're on page 3. Designated cases, active, white sheet report. So after these questionnaires are filled out, if any issues need to be dealt with regarding a church member, they are escalated up to Curtin McConkie. So we have things like somebody owes somebody money, somebody said that they would trade rocks for this. And we also have child sexual abuse. We also have murder. So I'll kind of go over one or two that I did. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. So this is regarding a former mission president and a companion. It's redacted. The summary is the family of blank. Blank claimed that Blank's missionary companion restrained Blank on several occasions, therefore placing duct tape on his mouth and nose. The family has retained an attorney who alleges that Blank suffered brain damage from these encounters, completed his mission in November 2007. And then when it's like the course of action recommended or being worked on by the law firm, still, let me see if I can highlight this. Yep, I can. Still trying to work things out through with the mother. Wouldn't you think that that is something that needs to be reported to the police? Why is the LDS Church establishing these helplines and basically stopping the flow of reporting to law enforcement? They're asking, report it to us, and then we'll tell you whether or not it's worthy of reporting to law enforcement. We'll try to handle it in here. And you have to ask yourself why. Why? Because anything like sex abuse, murder, embezzlement, anything, any fraud or whatever that makes, if church members are engaging in such activities, that makes the church look bad. It's all about their reputation. It's all about trying to gain new members. And then the second part is going to be financial for them, because if somebody like a bishop were to abuse, or somebody in a position of power on church property during a church time were to abuse a child, they could be sued for that, and they want to avoid that. So they operate under a premise of like working it out within their confines or within their own doors. This is clearly demonstrated. The reason I'm doing this is because when I think about the case of Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, or the Daybells, because they are married, and the deaths of J.J. Vallow, Tylee Ryan, Tammy Daybell, Charles Vallow, all of those people. When we talk about that, we talk a lot, and we're fascinated with the religious aspect, right? Because they said they were LDS members. They were actively in the temple. Nobody had said like, hey, you're so crazy that you can't come into this temple anymore. Your beliefs are way off in la la land, and we don't subscribe to that. There's no outwardly signs that anybody said that to them. Now, we know that it was talked about to a bishop. We know there were concerns because Charles Vallow, Lori Vallow's husband at the time, was deeply concerned about her mental state and her religious beliefs. She was claiming that she was married to Moroni, that she was a translated being, that she was part of the 144,000. She was believing in demons. She was grading people on light and dark scales, talking about zombies. He was so concerned after a phone call he had with her, and then an altercation he had with her where she took some money out of the bank account. He was on a plane. She canceled his flight home to get a new flight. He got home, his truck wasn't there. She had moved it. It was this whole drama thing that Lori had done with her friend Melanie Gibb. And so he has to call the police because he needs to get, into his house. He's locked out now. He's finally home. And When he finally does get home and he needs to call the police to get into his house, he calls a really good friend of his. His name is Gabe Bonilla. And Gabe is also his bishop in the LDS church. Very good friends of the family and a bishop in the church. Not only does he tell Gabe everything that's going on, not only does Gabe witness a phone call between Lori Vallow and Charles Vallow, where Lori is saying, you know, I'm going to murder you, I'm going to get away with it, all these things. Not only does he hear that, but he's present and on video when Charles Vallow is talking to the police. So we know at least one person knows about this. So when we're talking about all of these things that we see on this spreadsheet, okay, we see, let's see. In February 2004, blank, an LDSF counselor, initiated an affair with blank just a few days after terminating her case. Plaintiff claims that LDSFS did not do an adequate background check on blank and did not adequately supervise him, allowing the sexual misconduct to occur. Case events in the past 14 days. Discovery was extended by mutual agreement for 60 days. We were working on summary judgment, and the plaintiff made a request to mediate. That one, let's see. In 2000, a 4-year-old boy was molested in a bathroom at the church during sacrament meeting by an inactive 16-year-old boy. The victim is now 14. The perpetrator is 26 and is in prison serving a 14-year sentence. Decision tree analysis scheduled for November. Our counsel believes that the best time to talk resolution of this case will be mid-December, just before the oral argument and motion for summary judgment. Even when it goes to court, they're still trying to intervene on their side to protect their reputation. They're not protecting victims, okay? And I truly don't believe that the LDS Church approves of child abuse, sexual abuse, fraud, murder. I don't believe they believe in those things. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. And I said this last night too. You know, I was born Catholic. There's a lot of scandal in the Catholic Church too. So please, if you're an LDS person and you have a good relationship with your church, I'm not accusing you of being a bad person. I just don't like the way things are being handled in your church. Your church, these attorneys that represent the LDS Church, because your church is a corporation, are looking at their bottom lines, are reputation and money. They don't care about their victims. They don't care about people that are being sexually abused. They don't provide proper counseling and treatment. They don't provide any preventative treatment. Everything here is self-serving. It's prophylactic for them to establish these hotlines, intercept the information, and try to deal with it themselves before it goes to the outside world. And I'll tell you, I just thought about this. It's something that my dad used to say, and it's secrets are dangerous, secrets are toxic. And they are. And it's full of secrets about who did what to who. They don't care about these people. And in my opinion, this is criminal. How are you a bishop and a physician? A physician is a mandatory reporter for sexual abuse. How are you both of those things? And you call the helpline to figure out how to handle something because it was told to you, as your role as bishop, that you were that Mr. Adams was abusing his daughter, MJ. You call the hotline and you're told that you are not to report it because that's like a thing where it's a confession within a religious setting, so you don't have to report it. You know what? He's still a physician. He still has to do it. I don't want to hate. The bishop's last name is Herod. I don't want to sit here and pick on him, but it disgusts me because he was a physician first. He took the Hippocratic oath, do no harm. And by allowing that child to go back in that home with that father who ultimately ended up abusing more children and continued to abuse for years, I mean, he had an opportunity to make somebody else aware and to try to stop it, and he didn't. I'm kind of tired of hearing about situations, and it can be confusing, where somebody feels like, maybe the bishop feels like, I had to do what the person above said. But we got to start questioning things. We got to start questioning the people above us. Child abuse, sexual abuse needs to be reported. It just does. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a mandated reporter or not, in my mind. But because he violated that. I feel like he violated his Hippocratic oath, and he chose his church over everything else. I would question in my heart what my church was doing when they were making decisions like that, because I grew up with Mormon friends, good people, good families, and their belief system was amazing. It was about community and helping each other out and doing the right thing. And I remember the commercials they would put out, and they were like, like Hallmark movies. I mean, they were incredible. And I believe that, 99.9% of them operate with that belief system, that capacity. But this spreadsheet and not reporting things to authorities and allowing a child to go back to an abusive father and continue to do it, and trying to handle it yourself so that you don't cost the church money, or you don't, cost the church its reputation because you need more members. I don't think that's demonstrative of what you advertise as your core beliefs. But that was kind of a tangent. Sorry. That was kind of a tangent. I tend to do that. Here we go. Let's see. Here's a good one. This is the Montreal, Quebec stake. Francois Morin is an inactive member. He has sent a demand letter to his stake president, claiming that about 15 years ago he was mistreated in an interview with his bishop. The gist of Morin's complaint seems to be that he suffered emotional injury when the bishop asked him about masturbation. Morin's claim is for invasion of privacy and infliction of emotional distress, and he demands this money. I'm not dismissing it, but that is a normal interview question at a certain point. That's a whole nother conversation. I believe it's before baptism and taking your name. But let's see. Okay. Less active church member claims that in 1985 and 1986, he suffered abuse while he and his younger brother shared a bed with missionaries. Police want mission records. Settlement authority up to $50,000 approved by PDR on 5/8/12. So, they just keep spreadsheets of all this stuff. It goes on and on and on. There's one. Remember, this is right from Kurt and McConkie. Blank was convicted of misdemeanor sexual assault with a 10-year age difference in spring 2010 for having sexual intercourse with a 15-year-old who was investigating the church. Blank had become interested in the church through Blank's son and attended Blank's Sunday school class, but the abuse did not take place on church premises or in conjunction with any church activities. I can't. There's just too many. I'll leave these. I'll leave you guys links to these so you can look at these. So, again, the purpose of going over this AP Wire article, presenting these documents, discussing what's in them, and what these helplines were established for, they told people that the hotlines were there or the helplines were there if somebody came and said something along the lines of, I murdered my wife and put her in the backyard, and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. Or I'm abusing my child. You're supposed to call up this line and they advise you on how to handle it and how to provide counseling and treatment for the person reporting the crime and for the safety of the victim. This doesn't do either. The victims don't get counseling. This gets covered up because the church is covering it up to protect their reputation. The victim goes back to the home or wherever they are and are re-victimized, or they're already dead and a crime is covered up. It's ridiculous. So my proposition to you, or what I want you all to think about is, if the church has been covering things like this for a very long time, and they have a whole SOP, standard operating procedure, to do so, and they establish things like helplines, and they have intake forms, triage sheets, special attorneys that only deal with this, ring right up to the lawyer's office, a booklet with pre-approved settlement amounts, anything to keep it quiet, anything to protect the reputation and to protect the finances of the church because they're a corporation. Is it plausible that they knew what Lori and Chad were doing? That there's a lot of other people involved. I'm not the only person thinking this, by the way. This isn't just Lori, Chad, the two Melanies, Jason Mao, who, by the way, was very good friends with Gabe and Nia. If you don't know these names, I did say we're going to start back with the Vallow stuff from day one and try to get everybody up to speed in time for trial. So I will do that. But Jason Mao was a police officer that did a lot of speaking with Chad and these groups. There was preparing of people, and there were all these groups that they all kind of commingled in. They did podcasting together, but Gabe knows Jason Mao. And so Gabe Bonilla, via Charles Vallow, is made aware of what's going on with Lori. And when he's asked by the police later about it, he plays it down. He said, well, I don't think Lori said that she was going to kill Charles. She just said she was going to destroy him. It was the choice of words. It appears that he was counseled and told not to get involved, not to say anything. He was made aware that Lori was running around believing in demons, keeping scales of people light and dark, accusing people's bodies of being possessed. They've gone dark. They've turned into a zombie. Expressed her views about what should happen to people that are zombies. People that are zombies are bad and they should be killed. These are not typical LDS daily practice, spoken public on the commercials beliefs. And it astounded most people when it started unfolding, when this whole story really came out, like, whoa, that's not what we believe. And a lot of us said, okay, well, Chad and Lori were a rogue sect. They were still calling themselves LDS members. Clearly, they were out of line. They didn't believe this. But here we have proof. Before Charles Vallow died, who was the first in a line of murders created by Chad, Lori, and Alex being Lori's brother, Alex Cox. We have right here that a bishop is aware that she's believing these things, these practices, she's meeting, she's having podcasts or whatever, and she's still able to, Charles says, she's going to the temple 8 hours a day. She didn't have her card pulled. She still had access to the temple. She was doing things in rooms at the temple, and nobody was, either they agreed with it or they looked the other way. I don't know what else to say. She was very open with a lot of the things that she wanted to do. She was having these women's group meetings and justifying killing people with Bible verses. I mean, this was not secret. And the LDS Church did not intervene. So what I want to know is there some intake sheet? Is there some spreadsheet that has Lori Vallow on there and Chad Daybell and that it was reported? Was there a triage form for this? Did we? I'm not including myself in this. Did the lawyers for the LDS Church decide that this was not worthy of backing up the day that Charles Vallow talked to the police and the next day when the police wanted to talk to Gabe and Nia as a friend and as a bishop? Did they just choose not to get involved because it looked bad for the church and they let it go on? My answer is yes. I think a lot of people in the LDS Church, high up, including lawyers, were aware of this. And all they're doing right now is trying to bury it. We have a few more things I want to show you. I'm going to check in with the chat real quick. And I'm hoping to be wrapped up in the next probably like hour or so. I don't want to make this way too long. And plus, it's part 2. So give me a second. Let me look over here at all my sushi crew. Hey, everybody. It's good to see you. Green-eyed PI. Oh, you're so sweet. Hi, Athena. I see you, girl. Berserker Loki. Tina Reddington. I don't think this thing is flipping very quick. Tina, you said you sent me a little apology last night. I had no idea what you were apologizing for, which means we're all good. So don't worry. So many things go on the internet. Trust me. I sometimes I don't have a thick skin, but most of the time I do. Jennifer. Hey, I'm new to the channel, but know most of these crazy cats. Well, good. Well, welcome, Jennifer. Thank you for being here. Terry Queer, hello. Magic Lady says, it's so good to see you. It seems like forever. It has been a while. And I'll tell you, I won't take too long on like going way off because you guys, I need to stay focused. But, most of you know I've had some things going on and I have time constraints and I'm always trying to figure out how to do things and do it the best of my ability as professional as I can, which isn't terribly professional right now, but it's better than nothing. And I'm working, I'll work on the polishing it up later, but I think you're going to see more of me in the next couple of weeks because I have stories lined up. Like you won't believe I have documents coming in that I want to share with you all. So I'm going to get into this routine. I am. So it's good to be back. Thank you. Who else is here? Rhonda Blackburn. Hi, Moonlight View. Hey there, Sweet Petunia. It's good to see you. Hi, Don Keller. I haven't seen you in so long. It's good to see you. Don drops me little links every once in a while, and it's so nice. I definitely appreciate that. Hey, Car Guy 72. Good to see you. Let's see. All right. Oh, so let's see. What does Petunia say? She says, I think it's entirely possible. Just look at how quickly the LDS lawyer grabbed onto Lori when the therapist had her call the church for help as homework assignment or whatever she called it. Yeah, this isn't. I don't understand how a church that's all about so many good things when you look at it, when you look at their beliefs, when you watch they used to do a lot of really highly produced commercials in the 80s and 90s. If any of y'all know the grocery store Publix, which started here in Florida, Publix has these amazing commercials that are like a Lifetime movie or a Hallmark commercial. They're beautiful. They'll make you cry. Okay. Church of Latter-day Saints. Whew, they had amazing commercials. They were on in the afternoons a lot, and I talked about going and befriending somebody at school that didn't have any friends, or how to step in to a bully without fighting them. Somebody left their, of course it was the 80s, but somebody left their AirPods behind and you really want them and you see them there, but how much better it is to return something that's been lost. And these are our values. They don't see their values reflected in triaging something that one of their church members does, hiding it and putting it up to attorneys, and then allowing people to be victimized and further crimes to happen, because that's what this is. In the Vallow case, people ended up dying. Her own children were murdered. Chad's wife was murdered. Lori's husband was murdered. You know, and in the child abuse cases, every time an adult has sexual contact with a child, that's a crime. Every single incident is a crime. So just the night they let her go back there without reporting it, they acknowledged a crime. Or the next time it happened, that was a crime that they sent her back to. Do you see what I'm saying? These don't seem to be the values that we promote. So I'm confused. And like I said, if you're LDS, I don't think you're a bad person. I just think that some of the things your church are doing is questionable. And I've always questioned why the church is a corporation. So it seems to me like when you have lawyers involved in the day-to-day stuff that's going on in your church, and it's all about protecting money and protecting reputation, there's a problem. Even in society, I think that, hey Jen, yeah, you were texting me and I was like, oh, I'm trying to get this done, and I didn't hit send, so I'm sorry. Anyway, thanks for being here. What did you just say? You said it's basically hold our root beer when it comes to the church. Yeah, right? Right. Yeah. Yeah. Anytime you are part of a group, whether it's religious, political, special interests, sports, I mean, the NFL. Let's just take the NFL because it's like a safer thing for me anyway. There are people in the NFL that have murdered people, that have done drugs, that have abused people, that have abused animals. I have never looked at the NFL and said, oh, that whole group is terrible. That all they are is people that own dog fighting rings and kill their girlfriends and snort heroin or, whatever. Never said that. Okay? Ever. People that race bikes, like Tour de France, right? Pistorius. Bad person, apparently. I don't think everybody that rides a bike professionally is a bad person. And I wouldn't think that somebody that sexually abused their kids that happen to be LDS, I wouldn't just automatically say, oh, well, I mean, I would expect that. They're part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I mean, that's just all LDS people are like. So why are they covering it? Why? It's horrible. Hey there, it's good to see you. Something happened there. Something with me. Sometimes, you guys notice, I'll just decide I want to go on and give myself enough time to get the thumbnail up and my links going. I wish I could give you more time, and sometimes I don't even tell my friends that I'm going, but it's because he's so anxious that, if I start telling people and I give myself too long to look forward to it, then the anxiety builds up. And one, I don't do as good of a job. Sometimes I don't have the energy to do it anymore, or I want to cancel it. So that's my little Amy quirk thing. So sorry. Yeah, like Lance Armstrong. Exactly. Or who was the guy that was the Olympic diver? The pot smoker. Do I look at all Olympic divers and go, ooh, you're a druggie? No. There's people in every aspect of our lives that do bad things. We can't just start generalizing and stereotyping. So I don't know why the church is doing this. And I also don't know why the government, the local governments or the state governments are allowing this to happen, because it's also, I realize that that was kind of a naive statement. I understand it's all political and there's a lot of LDS members in politics and policy making and, peppered everywhere. But I still take issue with it. A lot of times I feel like I'm pointing out things and I don't have solutions to them. I don't know how to fix them. But I think if we talk about it and we become aware of it, then maybe somebody does know somebody we could approach to start changing these things. I don't know how I just don't know how you have somebody come to you and say, hey, I'm abusing my daughter, and I'm addicted to pornography, and especially like little kids, and you're like, oh, hold on, let me call my helpline. Oh, they said, just go home. I'll give you some counseling. Nobody's going to talk to the daughter, provide her counseling. And by the way, you're so worried about your membership and your reputation. What do you think happens to these people that were abused in your church and nobody did anything about it? Do you think that the majority of them remain members and are like, yay, I'm so glad, that I'm LDS. Like, I got abused for 8 years and a lot of people knew about it. Yay, go church. No, they leave. So you're losing the membership you're trying to retain and grow. So it's not really working for you. Like, it is working for you because you're getting away with it right now, but it doesn't make sense. So, let's see. What do we got going on here? If one Mormon does something bad that makes the news, they feel like you are judging the church. Get over it. You're not. Like I said, one person, and I don't mean that at you. One person in the NFL does something bad. It's not all football players are bad, or all NFL football players are bad, or everybody that played football with this person is bad. No. It's called bad apples, bad eggs. It's the law of odds, or the rule of odds. It's okay. I never get mad about stuff like that. What is he saying? Damn it, Zulema, quit screwing with the weather. Oh, is it raining there? It's actually clear here today. It thundered all day, but it never rained. It's very strange. Let's see. Tina says, the big problem is they need to retire all the old dudes in charge and rethink their policy. Well, they definitely need to rethink their policy. I think that I'm not going to choose my words carefully. I'm going to use what comes into my head. Okay. So what comes into my head is sometimes removing the old dudes. I agree with you 100%. But that doesn't fix the problem, because the people under them are indoctrinated. And so they just go and repeat what those people have been doing. So again, like, I'm pointing out, like, I'm my biggest pain in the butt. Like, when I used to work and sit in, meetings and stuff, my biggest pet peeve was stop talking about problems and create solutions. I don't have a solution for this. But I do believe that that's a start, Tina. I believe, like, taking old regime out and saying, like, there's a new sheriff in town, we're going to do some different stuff is a step in the right direction. All right. Okay, so when we were talking about changing these things and and how difficult it is, there are a lot of LDS members. I just said this in a lot of positions, and Jenn is reiterating that. She's saying that's just the legislator, not including the governor, lieutenant governor, or attorney general. So yeah. Let's see. All right. So I don't know why we're talking about coffee, but I've got like my huge iced coffee here, and it is so good. And I'm sorry to drink on camera, but I could do a whole show on Florida and why we all have Tervis cups and Yetis, because I wish they were real Yetis, because that's what Yetis do. It's hot, and there's always some crazy like red tide in the air that scratches your throat, or pollen that scratches your throat, or whatever. So like I can't, like I have to drink all the time. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and show you something else here. Let's share my screen, and this is a website that will be interesting to you all, I do think. So let's see. Okay, so again, these links are in the description, but there is a site called mormonleaks.io. Put it in here too. Give me 1 second. And this is kind of small. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger for you. See what that looks like. Yeah, it's a little bit better. So anyway, the page is organized like this. If we scroll up to the top, well, you can see on the left, table over here, and then they do have media files that talk about in video, audio and video, people confronting their abusers, reporting their abuse, and like what and so on and so forth. So I listened to one where a young man had been abused by his bishop, and it's a tape of him confronting his bishop. They abuse all like your other victim. I mean, you have to have what they abuse, but you know what I mean. So these things can stop it, but definitely check out this page. It's, I don't want to say amazing, but it is shedding light on stuff that church is trying to cover up. And you can find it there. So sound is off. Because let's do this. Hold on. Eric says I froze. I just looked at my thing. Okay. Can anybody see me? This is so frustrating. I don't know what to do. Give me 2 seconds here. Let me figure this out. Put this up here so you guys know that I know. Okay. Is it any better now? Okay, good. All right, good. Because I don't know where I froze. So those are links are in there. I'm also going to show you a site called Truth and Transparency. So go ahead and show you that. So that, again, link in the description will back up a lot of the things that I'm saying. This is a site that collects cases and all kinds of stuff about not only the LDS church, but also some other religions as well. You'll see Jehovah's Witnesses in here and whatnot. But here's a headline. Court documents reveal a Mormon bishop's failure to report led to continued abuse and an additional victim. Court documents show local Mormon leaders failed to report the manufacturing of child pornography following confession. So somebody confessed to a bishop that they were producing child pornography, and the bishop called the helpline, and Curtin McConkie was like, so director of Mormon Temple Videos charged with first-degree sexual abuse of a child. Yeah, so here you go. It's here. I could click on one of the articles and show you. Go ahead and read it for yourself. Constantly updated. They provide when they refer to something. Let me just make sure this is showing up on my screen. Oh yeah, here we go. So yes, the articles are written by the website itself. And I was a little nervous about using this until I realized this. So when they are writing these articles, if they reference something, they make sure to include a hyperlink to show us the documents that they're referring to. So they're not pulling this out of their, oops, I lost my page. They're not pulling this out of their back pockets. They're showing you actual documents with the seals, the digital entry in the court system, everything. So I'm not going to sit here and read an article and all that. I think that gets a little old at some point, but I encourage you to go do so. And I see that I froze up again. I always freeze up in like the worst way too, like Scrat from Ice Age. What? Why does this keep happening? I don't know. Anyway. What do you say? It's where I got the little pyramid from that I use sometimes when I talk about it. Oh, from that website. Yeah. I hope I said it. I know I was being really good last night about saying it. The Truth and Transparency website and the Mormon Leaks website, as well as the documents from Kurt and McConkie, those were shared with me via Jenn from True Crime Unveiled, TCU. And I have linked her channel in the description. She's amazing. She's ex-LDS, but she's very fair when talking about the church. And she has the advantage of knowing the scripture and the text growing up in the church. So she can say like, well, no, this is how we learned it, and this is how it's interpreted, or there's this book, or there's that book, or as LDS members, we would believe this, or we would do this, or this is how this is handled. I mean, she's basically like on the inside, because there's just so much stuff about the LDS church that's very secretive. You know what? I'll finish out and round out my point. I'm sitting here considering. I have the Charles Vallow body cam footage. I may just link it in my description. I don't think we need to all watch it together. And so I'll say, and that's what I'm going to do. I don't think we need to watch it again, but I will link it in the description. It's not there. Everything else is already there. That is not there yet. I'll do it immediately when I get off of here. But go and watch Charles talk to those police officers. You'll see his bishop and family friend Gabe Bonilla there. You'll hear in the second video the next day they reached out to Gabe, and Gabe downplayed it. I believe he called a helpline. I believe it's highly probable he called a helpline. And so I'll provide you with those. One of the things I was going to say is, I mentioned that I was raised Catholic, right? And so if tomorrow morning you wanted to go down to a Catholic church and you were like, hey, I'm looking for a religion and I was just wondering what you believed. Somebody, probably a priest, or, if there's monks there or whatever, but most likely a priest, would say, well, we believe in the 10 Commandments and we believe in Old Testament, the New Testament, and here's where we differ from other religions, and blah, 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 and go through the process. Here's some things that you can have, like, here's the activities that we have in our church. Please come to Mass on Sunday. Here's exactly what's going to happen while you're there. At 10:15, we're all going to stand, and then we're all going to kneel, and then we're going to sing this song, and we actually have a book, because we have every day of the year we do things the exact same way. The 18th day of the year every year is the same. We believe in Lent and Advent. All of this stuff, right? And then they'd say, come to church. And when you're done, tell me what you thought about it. Is there anything that confused you or concerned? Can I answer any questions? Like, all of that stuff. Here's the process of becoming a member. I'm always skeptical. And that's not just the Catholic Church, by the way. That would happen in a Methodist church, a Lutheran church, a non-denominational church. In Judaism, there is a thing about when you actually they'll tell you about the church. They'll tell you about their religion. But there is a ritual about like knocking 3 times and asking, and knocking several times and asking. I can't remember if it's 3, but that's like a ritual thing that's historical in their church. That's a little different, but it's not like they hide what they believe, right? They believe in the Old Testament. They're still waiting for all of that stuff. If you are interested in a religion and nobody will tell you what it really is, and there are secret doctrines that like you're not allowed to look at unless you're a member, and it costs, well, most churches take money, but it's like, let's just leave it to the documents. But if there's an air of secrecy, be wary. It's sort of weird. I'm trying not to judge. I'm really trying not to judge. I mean, I am judging. It's obvious in my face. I don't want to be. Maybe that would be a better thing. I am judging. I don't want to be judging. I just don't understand why the lack of transparency. Secrets are dangerous. So that's dangerous. The not reporting the crimes is dangerous. You believe in goodwill towards men. I'm talking specifically about the LDS church and fellowship, and then you allow children to go back into a home where the perpetrator has just told you, like, I like my daughter, I like having sex with her, and I've been doing it for a while. Addicted to pornography. My wife's pregnant again. And at 7-8 weeks, that baby will be ready to be abused too. Yay me. And you just like don't say anything. You just call the little helpline, and so many people. I'm tired of people saying they had to do what they were told. The people that did the triage sheets and answer the questionnaires, like, are you comfortable with that? Did you sleep well at night? Who are you? Who is the bishop that is also a doctor and a family physician? A family physician. It's not like he removes impacted toenails all day. He's a family physician. He deals with babies and kids and parents. And he didn't report that abuse. He called the helpline and did what the lawyers told him. And then that girl went home and she was abused for another 7 years. And so was her newborn sister and other kids in the family. The mom knew about the abuse too. Nobody reported her. Do you sleep well at night? And you people that answer the phone and fill out the intake forms, do you sleep well at night? Like, I don't get it. It's bad. It's toxic. And Lori and Chad and their beliefs are a lot bigger than anybody, or not their beliefs are bigger. They're a group of people. There's more than 6 people. There's more than 9 people. There's more than 12. There's more than 15. There's a lot of people that were believing in this 144,000 and people needing to die because they're zombies and blood atonement and all the things. Go to Jenn's channel, read some of her stuff. Go to Kresha K. Easton's channel, listen to their video. I'm not going to say read some of their stuff. Watch their videos. They're well researched. They knew these things were happening. They didn't do anything. And now we've got to trail bodies. And they'll do it again. All to protect their reputation and their money. How is that right? How are we letting it happen? If somebody tells you this is a rogue sect like I used to believe, it's not. That nobody knew that this was going on? Nope. That they were excommunicated at a certain point and they weren't really allowed in the temple and they were sneaking in? Nope. They were walking in. And they were sneaking around inside the temple, but they were walking in legitimately. And people knew what they were doing. And people lied and people covered it up. And Kurt McConkie was most likely directing it. Serious, I'm serious. They have helplines for these things, and this is what happened. So there you go. I'm going to wrap it up. Check out what you guys are saying. Car guy liked when my face freezed. I'll make fun of myself 24/7. It's okay. I'd rather do it before somebody else did. Oh, well, I believe in giving credit where credit is due, Jen. So if I didn't say it like before, like I will tell you guys, there are a lot of people in the YouTube community that talk to each other and that share things and share ideas and bounce things off each other. And nobody's in competition with anybody else. I will say we all look at our numbers and we're like, like I need, like how many likes did they get on their last video? Like, of course, we're all competitive, or a lot of us are competitive, but we talk to each other and we share ideas and we do the same topics because we all have different angles and we all present them differently. And quite honestly, if it's something that we're passionate about, like other YouTube creators should be talking about what I'm talking about right now. Like Kresha did the other night, like Jenn's been doing, like the documents that Eric posts and the Twitter posts and just everything. Like this needs to come out, and some things need to be fixed. I don't know if Lori and Chad and the trail of bodies they left behind them were preventable or 100% avoidable. But what I can tell you is there could have been a way for an intervention that never happened by law enforcement or the church. And for that, I do blame the church. Penguin says, thank you for doing your show earlier. 10:30 p.m. was fine when I was working from home, but now that I have to go into the office again, ooh, you have to go back to the office. Oh, no. It's hard to listen to the end when the streams start late. Yeah, I know. It's hard. When I have to get up like really early in the morning and somebody, like sometimes it's like 5 a.m. And when people have 10 o'clock live streams, and even if they run late, like 11:30, to be able to have to run out of the house at 5, I can't do it. And then I run myself down. So don't run yourself down. Always on the replay. Glad you're here and thank you. So, oh, I'd love to see that, a missionary training manual. All right, let's see. What are you saying about me? Amy is one of the first people on YouTube that would actually listen to me when I said it wasn't just Chad and Lori, probably because she'd already put it together. No, I hadn't already put it together. It was a thought in my head. And I had a lot of conversations with somebody that I worked with quite a bit. And we kind of went back and forth, and like we had decided it was a rogue sect, like it just wasn't acknowledged. Now I do believe we thought that it was bigger than Chad and Lori. But then I started talking to Jenn, and I started thinking and everything. I don't know how it comes together, but it's not just a few people. There's a lot of people involved in this, and it goes way high up in the church, and the church is covering it up, and that's my belief. And I believe that a lot of these people that died, it could have been preventable. And I hope that some of the victims and the families pursue this civilly. I would. And I would. Oh, hey, Shoebox Amy, Black Lab OG. Oh my gosh, you guys need to stop. I am nobody's mentor. I need a mentor. You all are my mentors. We're all in this together. We're discovering this together. I don't always have the solutions to what I bring up. I said that before, but I like to provoke thought. I like feedback. So after you've seen this, after you've gone through the links, after you've considered, Charles Vallow's interaction with police before, telling them that Lori was crazy, she was going to kill him, said she was translated, meaning she didn't have to eat or drink and nobody could kill her, and all these crazy things. And there's a church member in a position of authority next to him, and nobody did anything about it. Then Charles dies and nobody does anything about it, and Lori's just still running around like whack-a-doodle-doo. Tell me that her and Chad were acting by themselves, and tell me the church wasn't aware of it. You can't convince me. Or bring it to me. Show it to me. My mind could be changed. Right now, what I'm looking at, nope. So tell me what you think. Tell me in the comments. I want to discuss it. We'll come back and revisit. But it is 9:33. I planned on being on here for about an hour. And there's a little fuzzball in the back of my head somewhere that's driving me crazy, because you guys know I can't stand to look at myself on camera. So it's super fun. That's not fishing for compliments. It's just the truth. It's ADD. I hate it. So anyway, I'm going to say adios. Good night. Thank you, everybody. Oh my God, High School Musical. I've never seen that. I heard it was good. So, I mean, maybe I should see it. I think my kid likes it. No, she says it's outdated. That'll make you feel old. I think she watched Zombies Night, or Zombies now. There seems to be like a new one out, I think. All right. That's it. That's a wrap. I'll say goodnight. Let me tell you real quick. There's a possibility I will be back later tonight. I'm not sure. It depends on when I finish working, what I need to be working on. Definitely tomorrow. Tomorrow night will be at anytime between 5 and 7. I can't commit because there's something else going on. So sometime between 5 and 7. Ready to go on that. But I have a lot of stuff coming up the pipeline. I have some documents coming in to share with you. And I have a second channel. It's called Ping and Amy's Excellent Adventures in True Crime. We're on every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9. I like to call it True Crime Light. It's more relaxed. There's less documents and things like that, and more just two people discussing true crime as friends, and a little bit of pop culture thrown in. It's kind of like hanging out in the Sushi Lounge, maybe, but it's a completely separate channel, but it's super fun, and I feel like we can joke around there. And when you're dealing with really heavy stuff like true crime all the time, it's kind of nice to have a place where it's still people that watch true crime, but you don't have to be all serious. We can just relax and bond as a community. So I do invite you to go there. I gotta take these off so I keep banging the table. Anyway, too late for that because now we're out. Peace out, guys. Bye, Sushi Crew. See you later, alligators. And I'll be back on tomorrow. Thanks for being here and hanging out with me. And again, let me know what you think in the comments. I want to hear. I really do. If you disagree with me, tell me. I like that exchange. I'm not sitting at a table like, change my mind. I do want my mind changed. Or I want to know why you agree with me. And there's no hostility, and nobody's going to attack you. I won't allow that to happen. Because we can't change things if we can't openly discuss them. All right. Good night, everybody.